Woke people are ugly. And no, I don't just mean physically, although that is generally the case, but I believe that this is actually mostly self-made ugliness. And we're going to get into that. A good majority of these types of people are finding out the hard way that their self-love, inclusion, tolerance is a house made of cards and not bricks. And let's just say there are a ton of voices that are making a lot of headwind. Welcome to another psychological deep dive. Yes, I actually do believe the far left anyway, is collapsing. Once again, it always comes down to these four main issues: mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Because that is our experience as humans. Physically, why do they always look like that is a running joke on X. But there's a lot of truth to it, isn't there? Once you break it down, it all makes sense. Number one, these people are anti-establishment. That means they are anti-beauty, anti-anything that is typically seen as normal, so to speak. Number two, if you hate yourself and you hate the world, that energy eventually will catch up with you. Number three, even health is considered to be normal to these people. Therefore, they don't want to be a part of it. These are the women popping Tylenols to prove President Trump wrong. The women and men eating like absolute trash because they cannot control their emotions. But the truth is, emotional eating isn't about food. It's about control, comfort, and self-worth. If you actually ask people, for most of them, it's not I was hungry, it's I was lonely, I was feeling desperate. But just like being human, there are so many different reasons why people struggle with weight issues, and that comes from every side of the political aisle, which is why I'm so glad to once again be working with Hypnosio. As you guys know, if you've been watching my content for quite some time, Hypnosio is a revolutionary self-hypnosis app that is designed to transform your weight loss journey by addressing the subconscious causes of weight issues. We know that the physical is directly connected to the mental, which is why Hypnosio helps you rewire your brain's automatic food response. This helps break your emotional eating habits. Traditional methods alone can only go so far, but people using Hypnosio have lost twice the amount of weight compared to others that use traditional methods alone. Personally, I do one guided session a day. I feel like that's good enough for me. You can use code ARI15 for 15% off your first subscription. Go and support brands who support our morals and this channel, and get your ass in shape, bitch. You're not a leftist mentally. One of the best things about having this human experience is the fact that even though we are 98% similar in our genetics, in our energetic frequency levels, we are all living completely different lives. Most of us eventually, hopefully, find out what works for us because we have to learn how to self-soothe, how to heal, and how to best live this life in this body that we were given or that we chose. We all need and want different things. Now, for a second, I want you to imagine that option taken away from you. Everybody now needs to think the same, they need to act the same, they need to believe in the same things. You didn't post a black square for Black Lives Matter, you didn't shout Free Palestine at the top of your lungs, you are no longer welcome here. Don't want to date a fat person? You're bigoted.
Hey, sweet pea, so my partner's fat, and if you have a problem with that, I think you're the one that's fat phobic. Like, it's not called plus size phobic, and it's not called thick phobic. You being uncomfortable with the word fat seems pretty fat phobic to me, because like, it wasn't an insult when I said it. I love that my partner's fat.
Little by little, you start to ostracize more and more people.
Me down, fascist.
We're all Democrats.
I don't give a who you are. The fact that you feel this way makes you completely immoral.
The fact that the lady in the background of this video, I don't know if you guys caught that, said, "We're all Democrats," is very telling. And I feel like that was probably her peak woke moment. People are over it. And the ones who are left, well, there's a number of studies recently that show that a good majority of these people have mental illness anyway. Listen to this survey. 60,000 American adults to test for the conservative-liberal divide in self-assessments of mental health and to test how much of this divide remains once we control for a variety of demographics, socioeconomic factors, and recent life experiences. Look at the differences in the graphs. Mental health, percentage reporting very good or excellent. Liberals versus conservatives, there's about a 10-point difference. Percent reporting fair or poor mental health. Conservatives are around 15% and liberals are around 25%, about a 12-point difference. Many people say left-wing ideologies can exacerbate mental fragility by promoting a victimhood narrative, right? That makes sense. Also, an over-reliance on specific therapeutic language, which inherently leads to emotional vulnerability. You focus focusing on how other people can validate you instead of doing that internally. And they all wind up needing yes men or yes thems by their side to even leave the house. A lot of people argue that this creates a behavioral sink, which basically means where activism or performative activism replaces personal resilience. And it's gotten to the point where even people, when people on their own side tells them something that has been proven to be true, and they still don't want to believe it. Many times this is because they don't feel comfortable living outside that victim narrative. Listen to this girl, she nails it.
A lot of black people subconsciously want and need white people to be racist. Time and time again, I've presented clear and abundant evidence that people like Donald Trump and Charlie Kirk are not racist. And when I present that evidence, they say, no, absolutely not. I will not watch that video. I will not read that article because I already decided, the media decided for me that those people are racist. You can't change my mind. I won't watch the video. And that's concerning because it's kind of like you want them to be racist. You need them to be racist. And there was no hope for a second that maybe I was wrong. Maybe I misconstrued something. Maybe there'll be one less racist in the world. You didn't even think that for a second. You want them to be racist. The real question is why? And my guess is that most black people have created an identity that revolves around victimhood. It revolves around being oppressed. From childhood, so many of us have had blackness be the biggest aspect of our identity, and it's always associated with oppression, victimhood, slavery, civil rights, fighting the white man, fighting white supremacy. That is what it's always been associated with. It's like our identity doesn't exist if white people aren't involved. We don't know who we are if we remove racism and white supremacy from the equation. Who are you if you don't have to fight the man?
And even those people who do still want to be on the left side of things, they no longer have a clear end in sight. Their ideology doesn't make sense and it has very little consistency. Someone on X said, a lot of us have been arguing for a while that the left doesn't really have a coherent ideology anymore that it can articulate, much less defend. For this reason, it is more accurate and meaningful to think of leftism non-ideologically as a phenomenon of social, cultural, and intellectual collapse. And he says, once you begin to frame leftism this way, it all kind of starts to make sense. But remember, the side that preaches diversity is actually not diverse at all. Look at this recent study. Look at all that political diversity on the right, or just rather not on the left. And I honestly do believe that one of the main reasons for this is because they take away the main aspect of being human, which is uniqueness. This is why they even all start to look alike.
Do you want to get, do you ever want to get married or have children?
No.
Thank God. Thank the Lord for that.
I am going to be a teacher, and I am going to indoctrinate the youth, and I'm going to teach them all about the gay agenda. So your children aren't safe from me.
Listen, the gay agenda isn't real. I'm gay and I don't believe in probably 99% of the things that this person is spewing. But because of leftist ideology, if you are from said group, you must have said group think emotionally. Leftist culture is often described as fostering narcissism, lack of self-reflection, projection, and while self-failures are placed on others rather than being internally addressed. How is an entire ideology supposed to flourish when the people running things have zero accountability? No actual sense of self, very little consistency. The end goals that they have in sight are just a bunch of bullshit because you and I know that the goalposts keep shifting. Half of these people just hate men.
No, I did not get my septum pierced because of the shape of my nose. I got my septum pierced because I wanted to and to repel men.
And the other half just constantly manifest themselves into having these major breakdowns. And for some reason, they're also always posting them themselves. It's as if they're proud of them.
Why can't I exist as my true self right now?
That's not your true self, that's why.
This! You don't think this is my true self? What the is your true self? You ignorant piece of is your true self being a little who's shorter and feels insecure about how they are? What? Oh, you don't like coming into people's spaces and getting them uncomfortable for being their true selves? You don't like when people do that to you? Then Lord and do that somewhere else and stop coming here, you piece of
It is interesting that the public often labels this as mental illness, but The truth is, analytically, it's actually tied to an over-reliance on an outrage for identity, for which they have none of. If you pay attention, these meltdowns often happen when they feel like they're losing ground. And listen, I'm sure in 2025, the fact that there's many policy failures, there's a lot of media distrust, and the fact that right-wing gains have amplified this, with the left seen as dooming themselves, because they're pushing away more moderates and more centrists with this insane ideology, it's gotten so bad that they can't even give Trump credit where credit is due. Part of being emotionally sane is feeling safe. And in a lot of these more leftist cities where illegals are flooding the streets, people are waking up. Look at the year 2000 versus 2023. Look at the amount of rapes recorded. Notice that Poland is the only one that went down, because Poland, they didn't allow these people to claim refugee status.
After this ride on the London Tube, I got a whole new perspective. One of the things as Americans, listen, obviously America, we're more polarized than we've been in years. Republicans hate Democrats, Democrats hate Republicans, everybody hates everybody. Everybody's on the extremes. Meanwhile, most of the people are, 80% of the people are in the middle, can't find a candidate they like. Say what you want about Trump. You all know I voted for Biden, I voted for Harris. I gotta be honest with you, I'm making the swing fast. There's a lot of things going on in the world, a lot of things that I'm seeing in Europe, a lot of things that I'm seeing in London. Strike up a nice conversation with a good guy in London. He's talking, he's like, listen, there's a lot of the British people, a lot of people in London, for all his shortcomings, they want Trump here because the crime is out of control, immigration is out of control. Say what you want. My Democratic friends, liberals, people on the left, listen, man, we're either gonna have laws or we're not. Break the law, go to jail. You wanna play by the rules, you wanna play by the laws, you should be good. If you don't, there should be consequences. And in London right now, every single person has told me, don't walk with your phone out. Don't wear a watch in Mayfair. Don't do it. Even right now, I'm about to turn a corner on a street. I got to worry about holding my phone because some moron might come by on an e-bike, try and grab it. Obviously, I'll run his ass down. You know this. But what's going on across the world is a real problem.
Even the people with the septum piercings are starting to get it.
When will y'all admit that killing somebody over the words coming out of their mouth, their religious or political views, is a form of fascism? Y'all are about fascism constantly, and you cannot give us a single actual example of how the right is fascist.
Tara said, when I was trans, I definitely behaved in a narcissistic way online, but I think maybe I was psychotic and it was brought on by a social contagion. I don't feel that way anymore. People are beginning to realize that the left, which in the beginning of the video I said is just like a house of cards, which means it stands for absolutely nothing substantial.
I have a question for you. What unites the left wing? What makes the left wing come together in community? Because with the right wing, it's obviously Christianity and their collective commitment and love for Jesus, and also nationalism. They are nationalists. America, flag, nationalism. Where for me personally, when I think of national, I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. So we don't have a unifying glue in the left wing that binds us together. What is it? What brings us together? What do you think?
It's just a bunch of different extremist groups that hate America spiritually. Part of being a spiritual person, not necessarily being religious, is knowing your true self, not needing outside validation from other people, not needing the world to change for you to fully accept yourself. Just wanted to be treated equally under the law should be more than enough, right? And we know that this is a major difference between the LGBT people and the queer ideology movement, as shown in this little, I don't know if it's a graph, but shown in this little picture. This has made so many LGBT people also feel alienated by the left. And yet another reason why the left is failing. Many people saying that it changed from personal liberty to compulsory ideology. It went from let me live my life to you must participate in my worldview. And that's exactly what happened.
My principal says that we're not normal. That me and my friends are human beings because we wear different clothes and we have different pronouns. Everyone is normal. There's nothing that isn't normal about us.
Acting out of fear versus acting out of love.
This woman set up a perfect example of how woke protesters should be treated.
Would you rather your bills were £3,500 or £400? I would rather that you and your friends stopped wreaking havoc in the City of London. I'd rather you stop throwing soup over paintings, stop putting orange paint on the windows of Harrods, stop sitting in roads so that my friend couldn't get the treatment that she needed. And I'd rather you went out, worked a bit. Maybe you could do something that was practical and helpful. But I don't think being obtrusive and obstructive and lecturing ordinary people when you have no idea what it's like to try and work and make ends meet in the UK. You talk about millions of people. You talk about people who are in poverty. You have no idea what that's like because you live in the rarefied atmosphere of a university at some wokerati place and you think what you're doing is changing the planet. I think what you're doing is pissing people off, and I think you could allocate your energies more effectively by going out and picking up litter on a beach. Thank you.
The lack of belief in something more than just themselves or their movement has led many of these people to engage in cult-like behavior. Because of this, we've also seen a ton of instances where there have been wars on families, not like physical wars, but emotional and mental wars. The left's war on traditional family values might be the collapse of our civilization, and history agrees with me. There's a pattern found by this historian that shows that every single one of these societies over the last 3,000 years follows the exact same pattern. It's not looking good for the far left, to be honest, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up and make sure you check out today's sponsor, Hypnosio. They're amazing. I've been working with them for about like over a year now. One of my favorite sponsors. I believe in the power of hypnosis. I've read a ton of books on it. Well, listened to a ton of audiobooks on it. Same thing. Go and check them out using the link in the description below or scan the QR code on screen and use the code ARI15 for 15% off your first month. I will see you guys back here in a few days with a brand new video. Until then, I love you, love yourselves. Keep calling out the bullshit, bitch. Bye.